Let the chaos reign. Chaos8Reign presents Matchmaking, the Future of Mate Selection, with guest LeTisha Underwood. Broadcast November the 22nd, 2020. This is going to be a good one. This might be triggering to a lot of women, but nonetheless, enjoy.
The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
In a world where there's crime, corruption, violence, murder, rape, death, and all forms of atrocities that plagues the world in which we live in today, what you're witnessing, we are living in a state of chaos, and it'll take much greater or extremer chaos to restore the order in which world we live in today. Good evening, Black people and good evening, people. This is Chaos8Reign here. And tonight, we're going to deal with, I guess we could say relationships or finding mates, or I could better say another way of looking at, how to deal with man and woman in regards to the field of courting. But before I give you the title for today's stream, I would like everybody to go to talkrealsolutions.com. On the website, you'll find from the list of banks, I guess black business. Also, on the website, you find articles and news of current events that deals with things that's here in the West we call America and potentially abroad. And all the other information will be located on the website itself. So if you want to check out what's going on and it's trending, go to talkrealsolutions.com. Trust me, you won't forget or regret. Also, we have a donation tab on the website as well. Also, we are streaming simulcast on Facebook, and we are back on YouTube in a way, streaming on YouTube as well. To find this episode, you can find us on Facebook. Just type in Talk Real Solutions. Hit the like button. Follow us on Facebook, where you get the same streams on Facebook now. And also, you could find many episodes, including this one, on Talk Real Solutions on YouTube now. So if you missed this recording or this podcast, you can go to that YouTube channel or that Facebook, on Facebook, the group, or just the Facebook itself page, and you'll find this stream and many other streams on Talk Real Solutions. As you know, Chaos8Reign channel, if you're not subscribed to Chaos8Reign, please don't be hesitant to subscribe to Chaos8Reign as well. My shows and other things I do on my channel is also on here, including many shows like this. So don't be hesitant, hit that subscribe button and hit the top bell to follow me on YouTube as well. I think as we wind down, going on to 2021, I will say that I will be giving links where people can follow me, etc. So be on the lookout and stay tuned. But that's all that I'm going to lay out for now. So now, on to the matters at hand. Tonight's subject is titled, Chaos8Reign presents Matchmaking, the Future of Mate Selection, with my special guest and first time here on TalkRealSolutions.com, LeTisha. So if you mind, Miss LeTisha, press *61 so I can open you up. And for those that are going to be listening, I will be giving links to, if y'all look for a question more, if nothing was answered, I'll give you the necessary information to talk to Ms. LeTisha personally. But no further ado, as I open up the line, Ms. LeTisha. Good evening. Ms. LeTisha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome here. Very first time on TRS. I'm pleased and happy for you as a guest for the first time. But before we go into the matters at hand, we always like to go back in a moment of time before we step into the present and potentially what is out there in the future. So for the first time on TRS, tell everybody that's listening for the first time a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, first I want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is LeTisha Underwood. I am the CEO and founder, as well as the executive matchmaker at Two Hearts Exclusive Matchmaking Services. I am operating, my base of operations is Orlando, Florida, but I do matchmake nationwide. I started matchmaking 7 years ago out of Ohio. I'm from Ohio, and that's where I first got my start. So I started while I was in a small church group for singles who were waiting while they were dating. And the notion came to me that while all these singles are complaining about not finding a viable mate, that maybe I could help them by matching one another, because we were all in a group where everyone was of significant high quality and a lot of commonality, a lot of compatibility, and I just figured that people were afraid to make that first step for whatever reason, so why not be the intermediary between two people? And so I started hosting little get-togethers at my house, and out of that I had 4 matches, and one of the couples ended up getting married. And so I just thought, okay, this really may be my calling, so why not broaden it and see if I can help the masses? And so here I am today.
All right, excellent. Well, to be honest with you, LeTisha, with matchmaking, because this is something new to me, I'm not sure if you could answer it, but I'll probably ask this. The history of matchmaking, how long has this been going on through the public that has not been aware of? Because the average American or person always know there's dating sites and all this stuff, but in regards to matchmaking itself, I'm not sure how you're familiar of the history of it itself, matchmaking, how long it's been around as an institution.
Well, matchmaking has been around for centuries. It usually started with families' traditional arranged marriages, where the family would do the matchmaking and arrange marriages for their children. So culturally, it's new to America. It's only taken off within, I would say, the last 30 to 40 years. It's really starting to be put at the forefront of dating because of with the issues that a lot of people are having with online dating and catfishing. And then you also have TV shows such as $1 Million Matchmaker with Patty Stanger. That was few years ago, approximately around 2010. She started her show. And then recently you had Indian Matchmaker on, I believe it was Netflix. And so it started getting people curious about the industry of matchmaking. But matchmaking has relatively been around in other cultures for centuries, and it started with families. And then you have communities where your auntie, someone would want the elder in the community to help their family because they did such a great job with their children. So then it just branched out from there.
All right. That's good. Are you familiar with Love Connection or any of those old TV shows back in the 90s? Because you did mention about this thing. I remember when I was I a boy when it was very popular back in the 90s, and they kind of resurfaced back recently. I'm not sure you've been following TV, but when I was looking around billboards, they said Love Connection, and the face of it now is, I guess, it's more. I could be wrong because I haven't really looked it throughout on the internet. More pushing more interracially. I could be wrong because when I saw the cover of it, I see a black man and a Caucasian woman, non-black woman, on there with the shape of the heart. So I guess they're more shifting, more of, I guess, interculturally, mixing of the race in regards to this new Love Connection. I could be wrong because I see the cover, so I think they're moving in a different direction the way how the climate of America is going. I'm not sure if you follow that or caught it.
No, I didn't. I was not aware that they rebooted that show, but I do remember it from the 90s.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, if we look at it, that was one of few successful shows back in the time, and I forgot who was the original host, But it was something that a lot of people didn't know that during its existence and depending how long it lasted on the air, it was kind of gives you a glimpse in a way of, people go on a date, they match these two pair, they go on a date, they come back, sit on a couch, and give their views and opinions of how the date went, where you feel that you found love. And on the average, more than half, some people said that they found their match and very little didn't find love. But nonetheless, it was very much a successful show because most people that participate on it did found some form of an actual match on that show. Now, I'm not sure did it fall through after some of these shows, but nonetheless, it was a very effective show because to be on the air for a few years, maybe a couple more years, or how long it lasted if I do a Google search, that it was actually a successful show back in the time, because back in the time we didn't have internet like that. Internet was starting to come around, but it was not like, it was still in its infant stage back in the 90s, if you remember, LeTisha. So now that we look forward in the 21st century, because now people are more digitally and they're using popular websites to, I guess, either they find a match or engage type of hookup culture. People are now using this type of apparatus we call the internet to, I guess, find something or interact people more without actually meeting front to front, unless it's something that, is worthwhile today. But like I said, matchmaking is a way to go for the average American today. Now, with your matchmaking business up to this point, do you just set aside and match anybody on your site for matchmaking, or are there certain criteria? That's my other question.
Well, for my matchmaking service, there are specific criteria that the male has to qualify for. So one, you have to be a male, you have to be a man in order to become a client at my firm, because I do not match for women. Secondly, you have to be a high earner, successful high earner.
Okay.
Thirdly, you have to ascribe to traditional values. And fourth, you have to want to get married. So,
okay.
But there are different matchmakers with different criteria, different qualifications. There are matchmakers for millennials. There are matchmakers for both men and women. There are matchmakers, if you like, for the Jewish community. There are matchmakers for the African American community, for the Indian community. There are matchmakers for the much older generation, people who are in their 60s and 70s, who are in the highlight years of their life. And there are matchmakers to simply help you with your online dating and things of that nature. Not only am I a matchmaker, but I'm also a dating specialist. So for those who can't afford a matchmaker, or they're not necessarily need the services that a matchmaker provides, I also provide date coaching. That's for the person who just has your run-of-the-mill dating questions or concerns, need help with date planning, need help with getting through the dating process. And I take on both men and women in that regard.
Okay. Now, you say high earners. Is there any detail in regards to high earner in regards to your matchmaking, to be eligible to your matchmaking site? And like any details, or just as like a certain income? I don't know if you want to elaborate for most people that's listening to understand what you mean by the high earner for the male side.
High earner would be $80,000 and up.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, making
okay.
$80,000 a year and up.
Okay. All right, that's good. For all you men right there, if you're doing IT or any other profession, if you're 5K under 80K, she will not take you. That's letting you know right now. 75K will not go because, and it's funny with 80K, it's not really much because I always look at when we talk about my views of high earner, as from the other content creator, usually is roughly if you're over 100K, that's just the benchmark. $10K a month, and if you round up with 12 months, that's like $120. And the average American, I'm not sure what the percentage is. I think that's under 10% of earners in America. I could be wrong. But, for people that make that, I mean, you
yes,
super overqualified. But usually that depends on what type of career you're on to make that. Now, if you're a self-entrepreneur and you're able to make that, then you could fall onto that bracket. But like I said, and I'm not going to go into the details from the other content creator, but like I said, if you're a person that's able to bring in roughly the 8K, then this will be a good place to find a potential mate. If you're struggling to find a mate of your stature or your liking, so that way you can go as far as give her a ring. Because, the purpose of the matchmaking for most people that's listening is to hopefully, to marry that person, not to play around. As a man, depending on what age or financial or economic situation you are, you should be confirmed of what you look for and what you want. So that you don't waste the matchmaker's time or any woman that they try to match with her time, if she's serious. Do you get me, people? Because this is a business,
Correct.
And like business, you have to respect the business. You were saying something, LeTisha?
That's correct. So, $80,000. The average American makes significantly less than that. I think the average annual income.
I think it's $30K. $30K is the
Yeah.
average right now. I think that is, yeah.
So 80,000 is high earner, but depending on location, we have a lot of small towns in America more so than we have large towns. So if you're in your Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, California, of course the earning capacity is going to go higher. I'm going to expect you to make more. And the reason why I said it high is because for marriage, you have to be prepared financially. You can't just expect that you're going to get into a marriage and wing it and take a woman through struggle of. Finance is one of the top reasons for divorce. So I'm trying to prevent divorce. I'm trying to create quality matches that will last until your golden years. And one of those foundations that you need for a successful marriage is to be financially stable and able to take care of a household. And you can't do that with children. If you're single and you're not going to have any children, it's just going to be you and a wife. You could possibly do it around $60,000 a year, depending on where you live. But in America, it's just highly, darn near impossible to do so, especially when you bring children into the mix. And I just feel it's unfair to cheat your children out of quality life because you can't really afford to give them all the things that they're needed to become healthy and well-rounded citizens within society. So, you have your schooling, your extracurricular activities, healthy meals, safe home, just all those extras, and then all the extras that children seem to require. So I require you to be at a certain income, and $80,000 is that starting point depending on where you live. So if you live somewhere in Ohio, let's say Columbus, that's a pretty good, decent amount of money that you can live on for a family of 3. But Chicago, Atlanta, no, you're going to have to make significant more. But if you live in some place like Stone Mountain, Georgia, $80,000 is going to be a good living for a family.
Okay. It's interesting you say that. And I thought usually in certain states in America, it requires mostly on the average for 2 children. I thought it was always going to be like $100K. I know a few people, which I'm not going to mention, have managed to do that with, I guess, $120K, maybe under that, and was able to manage per se. But my thing is this, that, for the matchmaking, for people that depend on what they're trying to get out of this marriage, that, just to keep yourself afloat, but don't overcompensate yourself because you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, Right. If you're going to bring children, you got to be able to structure it properly. And I think one of the weaknesses for us as people is deal with things with the financial aspects of how we're going to maneuver in certain environments. especially in certain cities across America. I know people want to live that, if you heard the term basketball life, wives, lifestyle and all stuff, but partner, you're not going to do that with that income, If you're not a millionaire, you're not going to be living it up like that, Not saying you can't strive to get to that, but you should not overcompensate certain things that you're not equipped to really manage. And the weakness with us people is we don't know how to manage money. Money management is one of the weaknesses with a lot of Americans today. People don't know, say, if you're going to live in this certain state and the inflation rate is high, there's only two things you could do. You could try to see if you can make more than you averagely make a year, or you pack up and go somewhere that's much cheaper while still making that money. And the beautiful thing about the internet now, that you can still make that money anywhere you go, is how you position yourself to make that money, But like I said, people got to do their own due diligence research, especially if they're in a relationship or as a couple in this country, because, inflation rate is going to keep going up, people. Things are going to get expensive in America. It's not going to decrease anytime soon because the United States dollar is deflating, They will put more into this economy in certain institutions, but you as the American citizen is going to hold what I like to call the bag in the day. So while holding this bag, you find ways to limit how much of a bag you're going to be holding. Because if you didn't know, LeTisha, right, taxation is the greatest robber wealth of any set of people. And if a lot of people don't understand, if you work for somebody, you're going to be paying the taxes. That's why a lot of corporations get these tax breaks, because they know how to function in the system. And I think the most average American should know how to function properly, how they can benefit for their, self-preservation. So I'm not going more further than that. Oh, for those who have listened for the first time, the call number to tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 977-194#. Tonight's subject is titled Chaos8Reign Presents Matchmaking, the Future of Mate Selection, with my guest LeTisha. Now, you said that you don't matchmake in regards for women. Is there a reason for that?
There's two reasons why I do not matchmake for women. The first being my values. I believe the man finds the wife and not the other way around. The second one is that women tend to have a lot of expectations and standards that are just not based in reality.
Like what? What do you mean expectations? Can you give detail? And don't be afraid, LeTisha, because I want people to have an understanding. Men and women listen to this channel, so I want them to be clear. So when you explain, they're going to either like it or not. We're going to be upfront honest. Go ahead.
So I can have so the culture norm is men are valued for their resources, women are valued for their beauty. Women will tell you things that, looks don't matter. I just want a man who is good and, who is going to be a provider, have all these great qualities on paper. Well, you present them with the very guy that they say that they would desire, and they're rejecting him, and they start rejecting him based on, he's not tall enough. The average height of a male in America is what? He's not 6 feet.
It's actually 5'9", I believe.
9.
The average.
Yes.
Yeah, 5'9". Yep. And unfortunately, I'm 6 feet, so I passed that. Unfortunately, you ladies.
So you're in high demand then, but women want men who are 6 feet and over, and that's not the average height for a man. So they'll reject them because he's not 6 feet and over. They'll reject them because of his hair. They'll reject them because of his clothes. They'll just find every reason to nitpick and tear him down. So I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to deal with that. That just makes absolutely no sense. You said this is the qualities you want. I gave you those qualities, and now you're nitpicking. Whereas men, they relatively want someone who is attractive, someone who's physically fit, and have all the other attributes that they want, the attributes and qualities. So I know that if I put an attractive, physically fit woman in front of a man, he's going to give it a chance. You know, if anything, she's going to knock herself out of the running because he's already seen someone that he's attracted to, he wants to get to know, and now it's based off of her putting herself forward as a potential match, a potential mate, long term. So women are just a little, I'm sorry, ladies, but you all are just a little bit difficult to work with as far as being clients. I accept them into the database so that I can match them. But even then, I have a very strict criteria because my clients are very picky. And so it's trying to find that, meet that criteria. A lot of women, they don't meet the criteria. So.
You hear that, ladies? And I've been hearing from a lot of men actually specific men I'd like to readdress, said that one particular famous content creator with her husband, Rebecca Lynn Pope, and her husband, I forgot, Mr. Pope, especially her, she's been doing it for years. And she, from her own experience, had to conclude that she had to stop matchmaking in regards to women because women are just too complicated. They're asking for too much, and they don't even meet the standard at all for a man that, let's say, puts in the time, work, try and self-improve himself. Hell, try to make more money for only himself, keep his business if he has any small business or what do you call it? He's an entrepreneur. That he comes around, and then when he's trying to find a woman that he's going to court, marry, he has to deal with subpar women. Well, I mean, ladies, I mean, as you know, America, we are very much an obese country, and the people that are obese the most is the women, especially the black women. In regards to weight, the average weight for a sister is like 80 pounds. So, yeah. Before I continue, somebody raise their hand. Let me see what this is. Hello?
Hello?
Caller, open your line. Who's this?
Hi, this is Miss Lady.
Okay.
I just started listening. A thought just occurred to me in terms of, rating people's qualities. So men, they like youth and beauty. Women want to feel secure with a man with resources, right? So, but is there some kind of equivalency, some kind of scale, and is it realistic? So, for instance, if a man, say his resources are, say, between $150,000 to $200,000 a year, but he looks like maybe a couple of steps up from Shrek. He's what most people would say very physically unattractive. Would his equivalency in women be someone who's like on a scale of a 6 to 7, a 7 to 8, or does he expect a 10? And is that a 10 who's like in great shape, who's young, who's a professional person? I mean, is there some kind of realistic equivalency?
Is that a question for my guest, Miss Lady?
Yes, it is.
All right, Ms. LeTisha, I guess that's a question for you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you, Miss Lady. I appreciate it. So I just first I want to say this. It would be easier for me to find a match for a man who is very unattractive but who is a high earner than it is for me to match a woman who is unattractive, and regardless of how much money she makes. So it could be a little bit more difficult, but because men are valued for their financial resources, he can be as unattractive as possible, and there's still going to be a match for him.
But will that match be a 10? Will it be a 9? And will he expect a 10 just based on his resources? And is that really realistic? Do you know? I'm just trying to say, where is the, and I understand it depends on his income. If he's a multimillionaire, yeah, right, he can look like whatever, right? He'll still can probably get 9s and 10s, right? Even though he may not actually even want 9s and 10s. There's plenty of millionaires that, married women that were maybe overweight, but they liked, and they weren't, 22 years old, but they had qualities that man really admired and wanted in a partner. So I'm just wondering, because men really put a lot of emphasis on youth and beauty and being in shape, yet a lot of times their resources aren't that great. I mean, they may think they are, but they may not be that great, and they may not be physically fit themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I make sure I verify every client's income, so I know for sure that their income is what I'm putting forth as a selling point for a match. Let's look at who makes that amount of money. So let's say he's a cardiologist or a top-notch lawyer. Once you put out cardiologist, lawyer, it's not going to be hard for women to say, yes, I want to meet him, even if he is not very attractive. And let's say he has a very endearing personality. Depending on his location, he could possibly pull a 10.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But see, he's going to make way above $150,000 a year. I mean, the potential for their income is very high, and that's understandable. But the thing is, what about their personality? Personality? What if they're cardiologists, but they have like a really personality? Will they still be able to pull it? I mean, people they'll go for whatever, right? It depends. But I hear what you're saying. It depends on where they live too. I understand that as well, and what the competition is like.
Yeah, I don't deal with men who have nasty dispositions, who have bad morals, lack of character. The men that I deal with are truly marriage-minded, good, solid, quality men. They make a lot of money, and they're just trying to find their life partner. In the dating world out here, finding a good quality woman is like finding a needle in a haystack.
Is that right?
Yes, unfortunately. They're not congregated in the same area. Once you reach a certain age, all the good quality women are going to be married. They're going to be snatched up because good quality women don't stay on the market very long. Unfortunately, women, how they see themselves as being quality women does not necessarily match the idea of what a man views as quality.
Now, are you going all races of men? Do you matchmake for all races of men?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so that's what, I hear what you're saying. Okay, I got it. That's good. That's excellent. And I noticed that high-quality men, they don't tend to stay single really long. I have a friend that's a very high-quality man, comes from old money, I mean wealth. I'm not talking about rich, I mean wealth. And is well known in the area where he was raised. His family was raised, and he divorced after being married for many years, and he didn't stay single long. He married a wonderful woman, and he's a very loving spouse and very supportive.
And they're ready to, when high-quality, high-earning men are ready to get married, they will not stay on the market very long. This is why if women want a high-quality man, and you're not needing that, you're not coming across that, I advise you to connect with a matchmaker, because that's where the concentration of high-quality men and women And for men too, the high concentration of quality men and women is that a matchmaker is going to have. It's not going to be like a needle in a haystack anymore, because we're pulling from all over, and so our databases and our clientele is filled with a plethora of high quality people. So that's why that's why matchmaking is very successful. It's quiet. It seems like it's under the radar. Not a lot of people know about it, because matchmaking is word of mouth. It's not something that you're going to see really advertised, like on a billboard or commercials like your Match.coms and your online dating, because matchmaking is very exclusive, and we like to keep our businesses exclusive. So a lot of us is boutique businesses, and we want to keep them exclusive. So it's not, I know for me, I'm very exclusive. I just don't accept anyone that's male or female. So you really have to meet the qualifications in order to be accepted into the firm. So.
Mm-hmm. And one other thing, I would say this to Miss Lady. LeTisha only matchmates because she has a database of males. Now, in regards to the racial aspect, I don't focus on it. All I focus is that she's a matchmaker. In regards who's on there, race of men, not really my focus. But to the men that qualified through her matchmaking, that is 80K or better, usually all the other aspects, there's normally an easy screening process, you know. And it's a background check, because most people, after they go through that screen process, they check criminal records, all that stuff. So it's not like some small little matchmaker where it says, you make this money, oh, you're in. No. They go and do their thorough checks. Now, in regards to the women's side, why I ask her why she don't do it for women, is because of the expectation.
I heard her. I heard that. I heard all that.
All right. Okay.
I just had just specific questions. I may want to refer her, some men to her. I mean, that's why I asked about the racial, does she cross racial lines?
Well, if you have any friends or males, like I said, I will leave the description on my channel for those people that go back to this playback, and they could contact her through there. Is that fine? All right, good. Any other questions, Miss Lady?
No, I'm just it's just interesting, and I think what is the success rate in terms of marriage and maintaining a marriage? 5 years. I don't know how long you've been in business, but are the marriages long lasting?
I've been in business for 7 years, and I have not seen any of my married couples divorce yet.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, I have a 98% success rate when it comes to matching, meaning that means 98% of my clients actually find their match within 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the average, and I'll ask you this, Miss Lady, since you're online, how long do you think it takes for a man to really decide to get married to a woman? What's the average?
It doesn't take them long at all. I mean, they know.
Give me a timetable. How long? A year? 18 months?
Less
12 months? What is it?
Less than a year.
How much? Like what's been less than a year?
It depends on how much time they spend together. Everything's variable. You know what I'm saying? So it depends.
All right, I give you answers because you're not really familiar. It takes the average male, if he's decided to go as far as put a ring on it, 6 months.
Yeah,
sometimes it might extend to a year, but if a man's really confirmed and he just said, all right, this is my decision, I'm covered, I'm going to make the end, it's mostly 6 months. So when I ask a specific number, the average woman doesn't know. They speculate, say, is it a year, 2 years, less than a year? You got to be specific, because usually when a man makes a decision, average one, especially a matchmaker, if she meets his criteria, he will take her out the market in less than 6 months if everything plays out.
Well, I have been married, right, and I was proposed to. Marriage came up, not from me, but the spouse, I'd say they started talking about marriage in about 6 months. But I wasn't really trying to get married, to be honest, at the time.
Was you married before?
Surprised. Yes.
Oh, you were married. Okay. All right. That's what I was watching. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me move on to the next caller. Thank you, Miss Lady. Okay. That was good. Yeah, Miss LeTisha. And another thing, because I was talking about this earlier, because you're very strict on who you put on your database. I don't know if I should ask. Well, I'm going to ask this question anyway to a lot of women that understand. Do you feel a woman that makes, let's say, $80K or more, and she is somewhat over more than a dress size of a 6, like she's a 8 or 12, could be put on your database for matchmaking?
Somewhat. She has to be, as long as she's under 10 in the dress size. She can, and I'll accept her into my database. Women in double digits, I can't, because my clients are just too particular. So, money doesn't matter. I have men who say they don't care if she's a waitress, makes no money. Education, they just want her to be relatively smart, can hold a conversation. Some want someone who is educated, makes a decent income themselves. So, yeah. But if she's over a dress size 8, I can't accept her into the database.
Okay, ladies, so you hear that? You cannot exceed a dress size 8. And I create a criteria, Ms. LeTisha, that I'll tell you personally right now. To me as a man, and this still is overweight, I think it is obese, I've said it on my channel. You as a woman, you cannot exceed 168 as a woman of any height. And the reason why I create this criteria, because you are stepping in the realms of being as much weight as a man. And you should not weigh not even close or more than a man as a woman. Now, a lot of women are going to get very angry and say, well, I'm 5'3" and I'm like 175 or 180 and I look good and thick. I said, no, madam, you are fat. You are fat. You are obese.
5'3". 5'3".
Hey, if you're 5 foot, okay. Are you the average height of a normal woman? And I guarantee you're not anyway past 130. Am I right, Miss LeTisha?
I am 145.
Okay, all right. Well, you got work, but you're good. You're good. I mean, you could go down, but that's optional. But like I said, no woman should not exceed 160. You hear me, ladies? If I put you on a scale and you are 5'3" or lower, 5'3" or lower or greater, and I see 160, you are in the danger zone. And if you pass 168, you are in the warning zone, and you will be next. Because, ladies, beauty and fitness matters.
Yeah.
You got to keep your. Let me tell you something. As a man, go ahead. Say your thing before I say my thing.
Here's the thing. Women need to understand. Sex matters. Sex is very important in a relationship. A man wants to have sex with you, and in order for him to have sex with you, he has to be attracted to you. Just because you have all these nice qualities and this great personality, that's fine and well, but is he going to want to sleep with you? That's what they have to think about. I get that, health and all that and children and all that. First and foremost, it's a visual thing. Men are visual creatures. So when he sees you, he's going to want to envision having sex with you. And if he cannot envision having sex with you, it's going to be a no-go. And typically, men.
Ms. LeTisha, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that again? Because as a people, it goes one ear and one out. Repetition is key. Can you repeat that one more time for the ladies, for the beautiful ladies that's going to listen, the fuglies?
Well, a man has to want to have sex with you in order to want to be with you. And if you're overweight, if you're obese, when he sees you, he's not going to visualize himself wanting to have sex with you, and therefore he's not going to choose you. I don't care how great of a personality you have. what other great qualities you have. First and foremost on a man's mind when he sees you is he wants to have sex with you. Not saying that he's going to try to push himself on you, but that is just a natural instinct of men. Women have to accept that men and women, we are different. While we want to get to know you and see what your mind and your personality is like, a man just simply wants to know, simply is thinking about, I want to have sex with her. And if you can't envision that, it's not going to, you're going to end up in the friend zone. You're going to end up as that, oh, you're a nice girl and all, great personality, but yeah, it's a no-go for me.
See that, ladies? And I know most do say that. Well, most of them put men on a friend zone, and I get it, brothers. I know. I get that feeling sometimes, too. It's sad. It's bad. But I tell you, if you're put in that box, the best you can do as a mate, if it's not getting anything any closer to what Miss LeTisha said, move on, brothers. Just like you ladies, if a man doesn't see anything more than that with you, you know what it is, you know. It is what it is, you know. And I'll see somebody in the comment section. Let me read this before I open the online. Hold on. This person writes, so women don't want to be pursued anymore? That's one person. The next comment, dude is delusional. Never married, does not make Elite Harry. Next question. I was size 10 and 12 and very slim and no problem with men being attracted to me, including attorneys, doctors, businessmen. Face, hair, teeth are also important. Well, Miss Ain't Sweating It 2019, if you're a woman, which you are, yeah, they'll look at you. And, hell, they might give you the dick. But we talking about marriage, my lady. See, let me say something. To all you black women, listen to me, you fucking, because a man will sit there, wants to see you, and wants to have sex with you, does not equal that he's going to marry you. We count marriage here. You see that left finger? Do I see that nice dot? And mind you, LeTisha, you know what it is. The bigger you are a woman, and this dude, depending on his economic situation or what he is as a man, that ring is going to get very small. The more that dress size gets bigger, if you're getting courted. So if you say you exceed more than a 10, and LeTisha's being honest with you, say she will still put you into that base if you're a 10, depending on how you look as one, because you got to look cute in the face. And if you're 10, she'll tell you straight up, I will put you, but the limit of pool man you're going to get is very slim. I will recommend you get down to dress size down to 8. You get me?
Correct.
But as far as in regards a man that's doing and making pretty decent money, for him to sit there court you and marry you in less than a year, it's not a reality. And let me read the next question. You have no idea what you are talking about. Well, let me ask you this, miss, that's comment in the comment section. Are you married? As you said, it depends on both. Let me stop reading this. Let me stop this. Let me open the next line. Y'all must out y'all mind, man. Oh, weirdness. All right.
Okay.
I'll open your line. Joshua, you there?
Yeah, what's up?
What's good, brother? You have any questions for my guest, Miss LeTisha?
Yeah.
Underwood?
I got someone with kind of like a statement. I want to hear her perception on the statement. What she said about when a man sees a woman, the first his ideal is if he can envision having sex with her. Okay. I agree with some of that, and I agree with some of it, and then some of it I don't agree with. But she's on point. And that, what I'm getting at, how come here in America, especially here in America, when you say that, that's frowned on here in America, but you can go to a different place in the world, that's normally natural. They accept the fact that men look at them and say, wow, she's sexy. I wonder what it's like to be with her in bed and stuff like that. So why is it here in America, and I'm not, this is just my perception, I want to get your opinion on it. How come, in fact, that's frowned upon here in America? Because if you look at a woman here lustfully, it's damn near they can almost arrest you now. So, I mean, I'm saying, so it's like it's frowned on here in America, but I've been in different places in the world. You know, I've been in South America sometimes, and it's different. They don't see it that way. They don't take offense to that. But here they take offense to that.
Because here in America, we were founded on Puritan values. So the thought of sex and being open about sex and sexuality is frowned upon. But also you had a movement in the 90s as women started getting bigger and bigger. You saw a lot of self-love movements happening, especially with Oprah, with her fluctuating with her weight, you know, and she got to the point where she didn't want to lose the weight anymore. And it was like, you're just going to have to accept me as I am. There's nothing wrong with me. And so women bought into that message that men should just accept women as they are, should not have any demands, no standards, no requirements, and they should just shut up and just take it and deal with it, because we're beautiful, we're wonderful, we're great, and your standards be damned, what your eyes see be damned. We don't really care what you think, what you want. We just want you to get on board with what we want. And we are overweight, we're obese, but we still want to be loved, and we feel we deserve to be loved. So that push happened, and so now men have basically tucked their tails and went along with it.
Right, and at the same time, if you reverse that, a woman won't sit up the man the way he is, and she generally won't. I mean, they have, because here, and what I noticed here in America, women have choices and they've been spoiled. If you go to places like South America, it's wholly from because it's all based on patriarchy. And when I say patriarchy, I'm not saying negative patriarchy. I'm saying it's based on patriarchy, meaning that women are generally okay with whatever you say, and it's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying, when it comes to men choosing them, say the average guy in South America, he can go talk to a beautiful woman and won't. I'm saying, and she won't necessarily turn him down, because in their culture they just accept men just how they are.
Right. And the men accept the women how they are, because those women have an expectation that you're going to take care of me financially, you're going to pay all my bills.
Yeah.
So and they accept that.
Exactly. And also, too, there's one more thing I wanted to get your perspective, because you're a woman, so I want to get your opinion on this. The third thing I want to say, that when it comes to selections, you got tall guys, short guys, whatever the case might be. Women generally here, it's particularly in the black community, they generally shoot for taller men, and that's the thing. Or they might say, I like them tall, which is a preference thing. I mean, I don't care about your preference. But I always tell women, just remember, a man has a preference too. And you can't get upset with his preference when he preferences what he likes. Cause I think a lot of times some women have a tendency to get upset and to get mad and want to say he's this or that. No, he just has a preference. I think that plays along with the gender, the so-called gender thing between men and women, here in America especially, because I don't see it nowhere else. I only see it here. Where they have this.
What happened was, women after the baby boom, women of the starting in the baby boomer generation, stopped teaching their daughters how to become wives and focus on being the best wife and how to attract and obtain a husband. The focus shifted on the girl being self-focused, becoming self-focused. And it's very prevalent in Generation X, where the women were raised to be self-focused, get an education, don't depend on anyone, and a man is supposed to revolve around you. The relationship revolves around you. You're the center of the relationship, and any man will be lucky to have you. And a man has to do this, that, or the other, X, Y, and Z in order to obtain you, meaning he has to do certain things to get on your level, but you don't have to do anything to be on his level. And then in the 90s, You had that self-love movement where women felt, especially black women, felt they were so hurt, so abused, and so oppressed by black men that they really, really pushed this narrative that it's all about them, and that the man has to be all about them and focused only on them. And so women were not taught that relationships are reciprocal, that you can't just expect just because you're a woman that you deserve a good quality man. No, you have to qualify for a good quality man, and you having an education or a degree is not enough. What's your personality like? What's your attitude like? Are you cooperative? Are you everything that he wants? But when
are you submissive? Next question.
Submissive, cooperative, feminine, fit, and beautiful. Are you all these things?
Hygiene.
But yes, but the thing is they don't want the focus to be on them. They want the focus to only be on them, and mention having these standards or requirements because unfortunately black women think that they take the burden of black society and carry it on their shoulders alone, and so they feel as if black men owe them something.
Yeah, right, yeah. And I always say I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them a damn thing. That's just me. That's personal with me. I don't owe them nothing.
No one owes anyone anything. Not even the world owes us understanding.
Right, yeah. I got more, but that's okay. But I'm gonna back out and let some other callers call in. But thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Yashua. Right. Before I open the next line, for people that have any views, opinions, or any questions for my guests, the call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 977-194#. Tonight's subject, Chaos8Reign presents Matchmaking, the future of mate selection, with my guest, LeTisha. Now, let me see who else wants to ask questions or comment. Anonymous, open your line. Who's this?
Big J here, and I gotta sit here and give a little bit of pushback because the thing is though, the reason why women are the way they are in the Western world, namely America, Canada, Britain, France, and what may have you, is because education and also technology freed women from certain duties that was placed upon them. So you can't just sit there and say, well, how come women in South America or in Eastern Europe or Africa or Asia are treating men differently? That is because those women, if you look at their living conditions and looking at their lifestyle rather, they have men. They are dependent on men because they're not technologically advanced or educationally advanced in those societies, and they're not progressive in those societies because they're more Roman Catholic in their perspective. So you're going to have less. I think it's disingenuous. No, scratch that. That's not. I think it's unfair to compare women from America or Western society to those of the global South when those cultures are different, and also the types of men that are down there are different than the ones up here in North America. So I think that's an unfair assessment that you pulled. Now, I'm gonna say something too. That word submissive. I wish black men
Big J.
That word
Big J. Hello. Do you have a question for my guest?
Well, I just called in the comment. So,
I mean, I don't mind the comment, but it would be more tangible for engagement of this conversation. A question, then after that, maybe a comment, if possible.
You know what? Good. I'm gonna ask you something. I think though she kind of I think she already knows the answer to what I think she already knows where I'm about to go because the problem is the education. Men in America are not used to women being educated, and that's why they're having a hard time. Would you agree with that, ma'am? I'm talking about to the lady who's the guest here.
No, I would not agree with that. Women have been able to make inroads into education for centuries now. Also, you have developing countries like in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East who are even more advanced who are just as advanced, if not more advanced, than America, and yet they still have their cultural norms in place. So it's not.
The reason why I asked, because the reason why I asked, ma'am, is because this premise, because I believe that I disagree with your premise, because the education of men, boys, has been declining since if you go back to between 1978 and 1982, men and women was 50-50 split when it comes to being college graduates. If you went from 1978 to 1982, between those 2 years, it was almost evenly split between men and women when it comes to higher education. Now today, you see an uptick, the uptick of women gaining, college education, even post grad, and men are stuck to a to high school diploma status, or even associate's degree. And if you're looking at that, that does put a kink in the dating world, and nobody don't want to acknowledge that. And these dating coaches, your Alan Roger Currys, your all these people, they don't want to accept that that's a problem between men and women when they're coming to dating. And I got.
I'm going, LeTisha. You about to say something, LeTisha?
So the reason why that's an issue, it's not because men are jealous of women being more educated. It's because of the attitudes that come along with women who are now educated. They are now feeling as if men who are not educated are beneath them, and they tend to demean them. Whereas women who are educated feel that just because they have a degree, they qualify for the men on that level. And the problem is they actually don't. So
right, and I actually agree with you on that level. I agree with you to that point that there are some women, and yes, you got one woman you call on this show who do have that type of attitude that I have a master's degree, you men ain't I already know that there are women like that does exist. But at the same time, I think the problem is men themselves refuse to educate themselves on how to not only be intelligent, but also know what type of words to use when conversating to women. Like that word submission. That word submission has changed. So you can't go around there.
Big J. Hold on. Go ahead, LeTisha.
Therein lies the problem. Women think that the word submission is something negative, is something bad. So off rip, their attitude towards submission, towards relationships, is wrong. Because in order to have a good, solid relationship, one person has to submit to the authority of the other. One person has to lead. You can't have too many chiefs and not any Indians. Nothing will get done. So women claim they want a man who can lead, but yet you have a problem with the word submission. The problem isn't with the words being used. The problem is the attitudes that women take towards such words. And so it makes them not a good fit for a good, solid relationship with a good quality man. Their education level has nothing to do with it. I don't care if you're a PhD, MD, whatever. You should.
I'm a PhD.
If you want a strong leader, man who is going to lead, masculine man who is going to lead, you must learn how to submit. You submit to everything else. You submit to your education. You submit to the qualifications that you need to get to your education. You submit to your professor. You submit to your boss. You submit to everyone else, but you don't want to submit to the man that you say you want to commit your life to. How is that conducive for relationships? So women need to take the stance of not taking issue with a word, because submission has nothing to do with subjugation or abuse or being subservient or being a slave. Men want women who are going to cooperate and who are going to follow their leadership. So I think that's where the problem lies. The problem is not that they're more educated. The problem is the attitude that comes with the education and how they treat men, because now they're more educated and now they feel as if men who aren't as educated are beneath them. Men who don't have an education does not mean that they're not intelligent. I know plenty of men who don't have a degree, but they're highly intelligent, they have businesses, and they're highly successful. Men focus on building and working, and in any way that they can gain their financial freedom that will allow them to be able to take care of a family in the future is how they're going to seek it. It shouldn't matter if he has a degree or not. And that's one of the unreasonable standards that I speak on that women have. Because as long as he's a successful provider, what does a degree matter?
Boom. Big J. Hold on. Relax, bro. Any other further question, because the lines are going to start ringing up. I have somebody else that's waiting, which I'm probably going to keep on the line. But any other questions? You can call back in a little bit.
Yeah, but no. Here's the question I got to ask you then. How come every time I'm trying to ask a question, a follow-up question, I keep getting interrupted? Why is that?
You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because this is my show, Big J. You know the deal. You know the drill is. I run the show how I want to run this motherfucking show. So if I have to interrupt you so I don't hear back and forth, because let me tell you something about back and forth to a lot of people that's listening in. If you go back and forth with any person that is a guest that's trying to express a thought or chime into what you say, you must chill as me as the moderator of this show, so I can hear what the guest is about to say. You listen, then you respond. This is not a free-for-all. This is not the after hour. This is an actual show, structured show. And I'm hoping to keep it this way. Because when two people are talking at the same time, I can't get the understanding of what is being said. The people that was going back will tell me they can't hear what's going on. So you know how this goes, Ray Big J. You should know this better than anybody else. You've done shows on your own platform. So when you're on here, please respect the platform and what I do on here. I don't mind you being combative and challenging. That's okay to the degree. But please, when I tell you to chill, any other questions? Not, we keep it pushing. Now, in regards to the submission piece, I've been saying this before and say this again. Submission is not a problem. I remember a woman named Danica Murray talked about submission. She wrote a book on this, and maybe down the line I might have her on the show. Maybe. We don't know. But the point is this. It's not something where when a woman hears submission, especially when it comes to the black woman or the black female, when the term submission comes out of the man, when a black man says submission, you hear him say, oh, you can't tell me, Negro. I ain't doing what you say. I ain't no slave, all this stuff. But when it comes to other groups of men, whether you work or wherever, that junk goes out the window. So don't give me that garbage about submission. You know when to shut the hell up, do what you're told, and know when to move when I move. Just like Ludacris. When I move, you move, just like that. That's how I want that. I love that. I like that. Matter of fact, we go even further. I tell you, say, listen, maybe I'm hungry. Make me a sandwich. I better say yes, and you make that sandwich. How's that? especially a man of any, whether it means not, a man that's put in work. That's not a couch potato. That doesn't sit on his butt, play PlayStation 5, or what's the new system they have now, LeTisha? Xbox Series, wherever. Most women nowadays are preparing their homosexual mate while you go out there and stress and work and pay more than half the bills. And another thing, I would say this, because I'm getting lit today. That wait, hold on a second, guys. Stay online. Yeah, so like I was saying, in regards to like they're preparing their homosexual mate while most of you women go out there, work, and pay more than the bills. And I'm going to say this personally, you probably heard this, LeTisha. When I heard about this thing, about this 50-50 thing, I'm convinced this is something women came up with. Because last time I checked, most men don't come up, and the average man is going to think about doing 50-50 with any woman on the average. Any dude that talks like that, they've been solely conditioned and trained because they've been raised by one parent most of their life.
Yes.
Can we agree or disagree?
Yes, that you're correct. And usually that's because they're raised by a single mother.
There you go. So, and this is, and I might be calling shots to single mothers, and I'm sorry, but this is what it is, that you raise your children, especially the boys, to be boys and remain as boys, while you raise your daughters to be and act and conduct like men, to be independent, strong, all this stuff, while your sons are being underdeveloped, malnourished in all aspects, so they cannot compete in the world. I mean, I remember one time when Mr. Samuels had one car, a woman that's making pretty good money. Did you know this woman has her teenage son? He gives her son an allowance that's $1,000, mostly maybe a week.
A month.
A month. Okay. Now, mind you, LeTisha, what type of development a boy of that age doesn't know any emphasis of working for his money? That goes out the window if you give him $1,000 a month. So by the end of the year, he gets a total of $12,000 a year. And not only that, she buys him clothes of the finest quality clothes known to man. So when I'm looking at this, go ahead, speak. I'm not going to.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, single mothers have to understand, and this is not a knock on single mothers. I was raised by a single mother. Single mothers have to understand that you are raising your boys into being the very men that you hate. The men of my Generation X, that Generation X women hate, were raised by single mothers to be the way that they are. And the current generations and the latter generations are raising your sons to be the very men that you're going to teach your daughters to hate. So you have to look at that when you're henpecking your boys and babying them and making them the kings and the man of the household, you're raising the one thing that you hate. You're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And that's the real truth that a lot of women don't want to hear, that you're creating the same problems that you nurture, you know. These same boys that become men are the same ones that, and to be honest with you, LeTisha, whether the women want to agree with it or not, that when we talk about the issues with black people and the system, we got to look at, see, how we prepare our youth for the future so that way we could put the potential to eventually maybe get out of it. You're not going to do this by keep malnourishing the boys. I mean, I heard that most people that voted the Democrat still is women in high numbers. But I'm thinking, saying, you're voting for a party, and yeah, I'm going to go to tonight, for most of y'all that don't like talking politics, that the reason why you vote for this side is because you know you don't get nothing unless the system gives you trinkets, right, welfare or all this stupid stuff, because you know, so you're not going to compete and do what's necessary to keep and hold a man. That's just the honest truth. So when you're talking about saying that you up here getting knocked up by men that doesn't promise no marriage or any actual security, that's on your backs. I don't care if you're over the age 18 or 30. Once you become what they call legalized to have sex or considered legal adult, and if you know, LeTisha, the average age of consent is, when you look at the ratio, is 17 point something. That means 32
Correct.
states, 16 years old out of 32 states is the average age for legal consent for young girls to have sex. Every other state is 17 and 18. So if we round up, you're looking at 17%. 17.5 is the average for a woman could be actually legal to have sex with a mate. So once you're considered that age, now anything of your development, if you get knocked up, the world doesn't owe you no understanding. Same thing with the boys. Once they hit a certain age, they do something, you only get one shot, and the world will treat you and punish you accordingly. So my thing is this. If you do have a kid at a certain age, don't expect the matchmaker is going to save you, ladies, in regards to finding a mate. Because, as you know, and you could probably correct me, LeTisha, the average man, depending if he's making a lot of money or doing pretty fine, doesn't want to be no stepfather to no woman. And this is an honest fact now in the 21st century. It might have been good back in the 90s, some part, but most people that are millennials, I'm not sure if you're a millennial or a Gen X.
I am Gen X.
LeTisha. All right. Well, if you like a very late Gen X, like I'm around the area, most of us don't. We don't want no deal with no single mothers on the average to sit there and say we're gonna marry. That's not in the criteria for a lot of young men that's coming up now. That's trying to get themselves together or doing well. To say I'm not thinking of marrying. Go ahead.
The average age of my client is 45.
Okay.
And they typically do not have any children. So, yeah, the myth, ladies, that all men have children, no. Majority of my clients do not have children. If they're under 50, they do not have children. They want children of their own. They don't want to deal with the hassle of raising someone else's children. If he has children, he's typically a much older gentleman, and his children are older. And so he would only deal with a woman who has children who are older. Usually they're adults already. So, yes, you are correct. As a matchmaker, I am not a magician. I cannot perform miracles. Some things are just as they are. My job is to find the best quality match for my clients according to their requirements and their standards. And unfortunately, the truth is a lot of successful men do not want to play stepfather. Unless they have small children of their own, underage children of their own, those are the ones who will be more inclined, because then the relationship will be more conducive. A mother with children will be more understanding to his lifestyle of having underage children. But successful men are successful for a reason, because they are very careful throughout their life and make good decisions and have good judgment. So you're not going to see them out there with a bunch of kids, a bunch of baby mamas, and wanting to match up with a woman who has a bunch of kids, who has children. So if you have children, underage children, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's just going to be a little more difficult, because I rarely see, and I have a very broad network of other matchmakers that I work with across the country and across the world. It's very rare to see a successful man says he doesn't mind dating a woman who has underage children. So.
See that, ladies? See that? Now, I know this is going to hurt a lot of black women hearing this, because they said we have a, I guess, 70% out of wedlock rate, and a lot of women, depending on their age and what they do career-wise, or I guess degrees, because most women got jobs, they don't got really sufficient careers today. I mean, I could be right or wrong, but like I'm saying, for them to say find a so-called value man, or a man that's labeled high value, this term is being used loosely now in this space, because a lot of black people, whether they like it or not. And a lot of men don't like it either because they think it's just the money. And I said it's more than the money. See, one thing when they talk about value or high value, we got to look at all the other aspects. Money is the starting point, but it's not the end. You have to have more as a mate, especially a male, to really be valued as quality, actually high value, my fault. But as you know, LeTisha, you've been listening just like I've been listening, a lot of dudes got triggered on that because they always just, and also women too, but most of the men, they think it's just the money. Now, the money is, if you fall short on the money, there's ways, gentlemen, to get that. You might put in more work. You might have to do extra work an extra job, or wherever you have to do. You can still reach that criteria, but you have to, if you really want to be of serious value or you want to put yourself as high value, you're going to have to do a little bit more. The money is just the benchmark, the starting point. You got to check, can you create a network? Are you useful? All these things with other men in your group, because as you know, LeTisha, a lot of us black men, we could do better. You know what I'm saying? Work as better as a group. This is the thing that we're lacking. And to tell you the truth, honestly, even me trying to network with certain men, not many, but just certain, I can see the struggles already. And I have a very small circle of friends I know that I could say network through the internet. You get me? But in regards to us as a whole, it's not there because, as you know, we have a certain mindset. And just like any mindset, the average man, very selfish like some women. You know, they think like women in regards that as men we have to work enough to get certain things done. And if you're not willing to work with your brother to accomplish certain things, because it takes certain set of men to get things done much faster, it's not there, especially the money aspect. I know it's what a lot of men that complain about certain things in space, how they're not getting a donation they deserve and all that stuff. I said the reason why you're not getting what you have because most dudes are selfish. They're not going to put no money in anything unless pussy's involved. You get me?
So,
go ahead.
In the matchmaking industry, we've been using words like high value for a long time. So I'm new to the YouTube world, and everyone is saying, oh, it's a new word. And I'm like, no, I've been using this word for 7 years. So we put men into two categories. High value deals with finances, resources, networking, and then there's high quality. High quality deals with personality, characteristics, attributes, all those things that women want you to just solely, that people who don't meet the money and the networking aspect, they want you to solely focus on those things. But you have to have both of those things in order to be considered high value.
Exactly.
According to the matchmaking industry, I know a lot of people put emphasis on it just being about the money. But in the matchmaking industry, no, it's not just about money. I know some people will work with anyone because it is a very lucrative business. I mean, you can make a lot of money if you're a successful matchmaker. But for those who are very good at what they do, those of us who are very good at what we do, and we put a lot of focus and effort into making quality matches, that high value barometer has to come with that high quality aspect as well.
Indeed. And that's what a lot of our people miss, the understanding of defining or definition of high value. And like I said, it's been around with us as a set of people for centuries. You know, there were, even people remember back 100 years ago, there was always a top and lower class. The middle class was a creation in itself for the last 70-some years, which now, as you see in today's society, they're actually trying to go back to the way things were, where there's a top and lower, no middle. As people understand, as economics change, money's deflation, and people's status is being depleted, because if you feel that you're a certain, what we call mid in the society, you're actually living above water. And living check by check, you're just floating right now. to just being poor. You get me? The system does a lot of things to give the illusion of top and lower. See, they condition a lot of people so that because we grew up in a middle class, or what they want to call it, that this was always in existence. And no, this is something was created. And anything that was created can be uncreated within a snap with a finger. So I tell people, you know, as men, you know, do the best you can to be valuable. So before I open this line, I know some people in the chat going back and forth, and they're very much agitated from this conversation we have with LeTisha. I'm just letting you know right now. They're not liking this. You know, some men and some women.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One thing I will say to a lot of women that, you know, not saying that you don't have no value, you can't find no mate, but if you're a woman that's trying to get married, like Miss LeTisha Underwood said, you got to have your junk in order. That means you got to meet a criteria that a man's going to give the time of day to even said, all right, I'll give her a shot. Especially a man that's working hard, putting the hours and putting the finance for himself to support not only himself but potentially family to really take you in, you know. Because think about it. Besides finance is a top that marriage is divorce, there are other factors that I forgot. But as y'all know, because of no-fault divorce, you ladies are going to try to step in and try to walk out it easy with something. And I'm telling you right now, dudes that are on their purpose and really wants to find them a wife, they put themselves in these matchmaking to really cut out the bullshit. Correct. I'm telling you right now. And the men that have the money, to be honest with you, and this is kind of good I have this conversation with you because and now it quarantines a lot of dudes that don't meet your criteria to just be a matchmaker. Now, doing dating, I would refer most men and women, they see you for that. You get me?
Yeah.
That matchmaking, because matchmaking is not for everybody. I'm letting y'all know right now, it's not for everybody. So if you're a person, especially if you're a woman, and one of the weaknesses a lot of women, especially since today, have, LeTisha, is they cannot pair bond with a man. You hear the story from certain men.
That's true.
They ask the question, what do men want, ladies? A lot of women, the average woman, especially the black woman, say don't know.
And
I don't know if you want to ask. Go ahead.
That's the sad and unfortunate truth is when I ask women, especially my date coaching clients. See, men know exactly what it is that women want, and they know what they need to do to obtain and attract women. They do it. Some of them can't reach that level, so they're frustrated. I get it. But women have absolutely no clue as to what a man desires. And when I ask them, have you asked these men? No, they're just going to say, I just feel like they want someone pretty in this. Okay, but did you ask them what they wanted? Did you ask why they're choosing all these pretty women, but they're not choosing you? But then if they are choosing pretty women, then why aren't you making yourself compatible? You know, why aren't you competing? Why aren't you making it so that you are actually competing with these women? Sometimes we can't help what our face look like, but we can help with our body. We can help with our attitude.
Did you say the word compete? You mean black women, you have to compete with Marisol, Mingling, Karen? Karen?
You have to
Karen?
You have to compete with them all because there are some very good quality sisters out here as well that you have to compete for it. Because for the most part, black men are still desiring and marrying black women. So you also have to compete with that segment of black women who are on point, who are on their game, and understand what a man wants. So if they're constantly choosing these women over you, then you need to figure out what this woman is doing that you're not doing. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is to ask a man what he wants. Now, we tell you what a man wants, but then you get upset and you get offended. Because men want physically fit, beautiful, feminine, submissive, cooperative women. If you have those 5 things, you are at the front of the class. You're at the front of the class. You know, even if you are a 4 or 5 in a face, if you have a wonderful outgoing disposition, very cooperative, very feminine, there is a man who is going to look past the fact that you're not all that attractive in the face. I've seen it happen. I've seen where a 5 was able to get with a guy who was an extremely high earner because she meets all the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So you have just like men who don't have a lot of money, they have to overcompensate. Or if they do have a lot of money, there are still other things that they have to do about themselves to compete with the men who are attractive and have money. So women need to stop thinking that they have to do nothing just because they are women. Men understand this, and they're doing it. They're trying, they're doing it, and then there's those who are trying to do it. Those who are serious about marriage, they get it done. They do what's necessary. Women who claim they're serious about marriage, they need to really check themselves, do some self-reflection, and figure out what it is that's wrong. Actually, you can hit on my website, and I can help you figure that out. But
she's going to charge you. It's not going to be free, ladies.
Charge you.
You know what I'm saying? And trust me, you will not be asking for your money back either. Don't say, "Oh, no." You're gonna be charged. She's gonna give you this game for some change, and you're gonna keep pushing. You feel me?
You're right, but I guarantee that you'll be successfully dating within 6 months. So, you won't have those problems. You won't be running across the little dusties or the issues where the biggest complaint I find is, well, they don't want commitment. They just don't want commitment. No, men want commitment. They just don't want commitment with you. See, like you said earlier to the first caller, you told her something, and I hope she caught it. Men will have sex with you. Men will hang out with you and have fun with you, but they will not marry you. They will not commit to you if you do not meet their qualities, their standards, their requirements. So, ladies, if you're having issues, you want commitment, you want to get married, hit up, check on my website, sign up for the date specialist services, and I'll be able to help you out.
Yes. Before I open the lines, there was something that came to my mind. I heard most women, depending if they're millennial or late Gen X or whatever, Gen Z, I hear them say, well, if the black men don't give me no shot, I have options. I can go and flock to other races of men, and they'll take me. What's your response to that? Because you deal with other races of men in your matchmaker. What do they say about, if you can?
People tend to stick with their own cultures. Not to say that interracial dating does not happen, and I'm not saying that to try to make it seem as if black women aren't, wanted, but people tend to stick with their own cultures. I see it amongst all my networking matchmakers that I network with. They have niches where some are Indian matchmakers, some are Latin matchmakers, some are Jewish matchmakers. And it's rare to see them say they'll take someone outside of that culture or some, so women, if you think you have options and you can go the other way, men are going to be men across the board. If you have a nasty disposition, you are not cooperative, and you do not know how to submit within a relationship, good luck with that, because that relationship's not going to work for you either unless you pick a man who operates in feminine energy and he is capable. So,
that sounds like the homosexuals? The homosexuals that these women get, what they call pump.
The problem becomes, then it's not that you couldn't cut it with a black man. It's just you wanted to control a black man, and a black man wasn't going for it. So now you went to Brad, who doesn't have a problem with it. So I would say just work on your attitude and how you view relationships, how you view men. Can you cooperate and function within a relationship? Because if that's the case, it doesn't matter the race of the man. You'll be able to qualify for any man you really desire as long as they desire you. So.
See that? I hope that answered most of y'all questions. Let me open the line and see who has any other further questions. All right. I open your line. Anonymous, who's this? Hello?
Hey, Gary, this Big OC, man. What's happening?
Oh, what's up, Big OC? Do you have any questions for my guest, Miss LeTisha, matchmaker?
Yeah, I do. First question, what's the average age of the people you're dealing with?
So the average age of my male clients are 45 years old, and the average age of the woman who signs up for my database is 28 years old.
And do you typically, I mean, I could see in the men, they're 45, I guess they done fucked enough. It's time to try and settle down. And those are still considered, so the men you're dealing with are high-valued men? Is that, did I get that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, not really necessarily high value, because high value puts you at over 100,000, and I start off at 80, working with men who make 80,000. So it's more like high earners who are high quality men, up to high value men.
Okay, and what again makes them high quality to a woman?
High quality would be successful earner, capable of providing, has morals, standards, requirements, of good character and integrity, who wants to be married, who is not trying to play games, run game, and who does not have a lot of baggage, meaning he doesn't have a lot of kids, he doesn't have a lot of baby mamas running around. Typically, if they do have children, those children are born of a previous marriage. They have education, or they have a successful business. So these are the type of men that women are really, really looking for as far as their financial resources, their temperament, and their personalities and characteristics.
Now, at all the people that are involved in your service, have there been any people involved that have come back and say there's been any infidelity? I know I heard you say there was no one's divorced, but has there been any infidelity that you know of?
No, I have not had a client come back and say that there was infidelity or a woman who was attached to my database. Usually once a match is performed, they usually communication is stopped unless I get an invitation to a wedding, or I'll get a note or something saying, hey, this is going really well, I really appreciate it. I have not had any clients who have returned due to a match not working out. So I really don't follow along throughout the dynamics of the relationship to find out if infidelity happens, because that's not part of that. It has nothing to do with what I do as far as a matchmaker.
I only say that because a large percentage of people get divorced, right? And based on you're saying you're matchmakers, I would assume that they didn't have lengthy friendships before they were married, or I could be wrong.
Following what you mean by lengthy friendships before marriage.
Like when you matched them up, were you matching them up to be friends or to get married?
No, I'm matching to get married. So I'm matching them based on how compatible they are. And usually when you focus on compatibility in your relationship, and this is the focal point, the centerpiece, the cornerstone of your relationship, those relationships tend to last very long. Those are the type of relationships that we saw in previous generations. It wasn't until love became a factor that people started marrying for love that you started seeing the high divorce rates. So with matchmaking, love is an element that is removed, and we focus solely on compatibility.
Okay.
Does that answer all your questions, Big OC?
Yeah, somewhat. I just understand that a man is still going to be a man, compatible or not. That's why I had the question about the infidelity. That's what I would want to know.
All right, so let me ask you a question, Big OC. Could you talk about the infidelity piece, like these men that go to a matchmaker and they try and seek a mate for marriage? If infidelity is on the mindset of the average male, because that's what we hear a lot of times, that women said that they will end a relationship or a marriage because of infidelity. If you notice, bro, because she deals with mostly high value, high earner, that eventually leads to high value, that there was a study done from other podcasts that a person that's making well over six figures, the likelihood of them being divorced is very much cut in half than someone that doesn't make that. That's when you see when people divorce in America overall, the average is usually finance. And a person that's doing very well, a woman on the average is not going to go out the way to this divorce. But we get the concept of divorce with these celebrities. That's something we see on television. It's garbage. It's bullshit, bro. You know? Because most of them that make a real good money, most of their wives will stay in it for decades upon decades. And hell, some of them might divorce after 20 years, like the issue with Dr. Dre and that chick that they're going for their little weird divorce right now, which she's losing right now, but we're not going to that. But the average person that's doing real good and they're married, they don't get divorced like that. Divorce is really cut in half. Mostly on the average, 20% is the average divorce for people that got the money side down pat, the finance. The infidelity, what a lot of women complain about, it sounds nice, but it's real garbage. You know, if a man is able to provide, do all the things, even let's say if he does do that, it takes a lot for a woman to sit there and say, you know, I'm divorcing. I mean, in America, maybe, possibly it might be fast, but, you know, once she knows that a man is providing her necessities, she shut the hell up. That's how this thing goes.
Yeah, I got it. But a man who's, I would assume any partner that's cheating, to me, in my mind, is not high value, right? Can we agree with that?
I don't know, because people have sex every day.
Would your guest agree with that? That a man who...
I mean, you can ask her.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I wouldn't agree with that. If a man is a serial cheater, adulterer, that's different. But someone who just had a hiccup with infidelity, no. I mean, high value has nothing to do with quality characteristics. That's quality. That's in the matchmaking industry. That's when you get into the high quality.
Well, I think I'm just melting them together. Instead of saying high value, mean overall he has high qualities in each category. So I just keep saying high value, meaning, you know, when you mention morals, I'm like, that doesn't sound very moral, someone who would be out there cheating.
But you have
whether he has a lot of money or not.
Right. It's kind of a weird question because it's not men who are – I charge a lot of money. So men who utilize a matchmaker are going to make sure that they're going to get their money's worth. You're not going to pay tens of thousands of dollars to a matchmaker just to mess up that match because you can't keep your business in your pants. So
really?
Infidelity is not high on the list because you really the negative energy of thinking about someone cheating and being unfaithful, I mean, that can happen. It doesn't matter if at any income level. Infidelity can happen whether it's a man or a woman. So if a woman is concerned about that, if a man is concerned about that, I have not really had those type of questions. I don't think I even had a client who came to me and said that his marriage fell apart because of infidelity. It's usually other issues. So I don't really get too much into the infidelity side unless he's a serial cheater. And usually that comes up in the background check when you're looking at marriage records and psych evaluations, because I also perform a psych evaluation. But him being if he's a serial cheater, yes, I would not consider him high value, being of high quality. If he had a incident of infidelity, he could still be considered a high value man.
Yeah, but to me, Big OC, when we talk, like I said, with the cheating aspect, once a man decides he wants to find a wife and carry legacy, he does that. He spends money. Now, regardless if he goes around and have a side piece and all stuff, I mean, to what LeTisha's saying in her business, only thing she can do is do the background check as thorough as possible. And if the success rate is over more than half, that's better than nothing. And nowadays, because the average woman, especially black woman in our community, is 1 1/4, less than, not even close to 30% now. That's saying if you're a woman and you really look for a mate to get married and be a wife, stay at home, whatever, and you meet the criteria, like Miss Underwood said, then I would say matchmaker is your only solution moving forward. Everything that's about this cheating aspect, this dude's going to do all that. I mean, no background check that's going to assure that your man's not going to go out. I always look at the end of the day, when a man does that, we always go look at why, because there's always a cause to a problem. Now, if he's a serial cheater, obviously that's going to show up, because, we men, we're very stupid when we go out and, I guess, sleep behind our woman's back. So women are very good investigators. They'll find out, But regardless if he got everything else in order and is able to provide and all stuff, that normally doesn't go in the equation, especially a man that's making a lot of money. That's why I don't hear much talk about these people that make a lot of money and they say about their cheating aspects. I mean, nothing's perfect nowadays. Same for women. Women don't now, if we look at now, cheat as much as men now, surprisingly. But we don't waste time to talk about that. And we don't, because we feel that cheating in America, this is a male thing. Men cheat, so at times, women are innocent, they don't do all that stuff. But when I found other research now, that's not the case now. Depending on what type of genre the woman is. If she's a millennial, yeah, mostly she's going to screw behind your back more than half than the Gen Xers. And Gen Xers are not perfect, but they'll let you know they're not going to cheat much often. But as we go down the generations, it increases because everybody feels that they're equal and they could do like a man could do. And that's not the case, especially if you have a shelf life as a woman from 18 to roughly 34. Once you pass 35, you're high risk. And most dudes that got their things in order are not going to take on a woman that doesn't have no kids and they're like beyond high risk. It's not that smart. So thank you, Big OC, for your questions. All right, let me see what's ABC, if you're there, call in. I'll take your call. You probably be last call if you call back in, bro. All right, let me ask 2 more questions. And if you don't call, we could conclude this. LeTisha, I'm not sure if you heard of this new term, and this is developed by Mr. Samuels, that I think is called dating equals bartering. Are you familiar with that?
Dating? No, I have not been able to catch his latest show, so I have not heard that.
Well, because people don't understand the psychology, because men, when we, seek you out, is normally we want to get into your pants sometimes on the average. That as a woman, if you're going on multiple dates, let's say more than 2, with different men, is actually to a lot of dudes today, and they're thinking that, you're taking them along, stringing them along, a ride. And that's what he means by dating is a form of bartering. I pay for this, take you out, do all this, and then in return, I get sex. Now, a lot of women don't find that usual or find that something's not wrong with that, but that's what most average men nowadays, depending if he's doing what he should be doing, that's how he views it, you know. That's why you look at the average person today don't really date like that because of this behavior that's going on now. You know, so that's what I'm trying to express about. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, men understand that women are dating multiple men at the same time. So the expectation is, I understand it because women are doing this, I'm going to put forth my expectation. So since you are dating multiple men, you want me to take you out. So in return, I'm going to be expecting sex. So it's an even exchange.
Yeah, in that some case, yeah. Now, I'm not sure if the sex is automatically for the first date because, you know, this is something that they mention. But for most women that, like I said, can't pair bond, they will waste a man's time. And the average dude, like I said, if he's sitting there interested in you, the only thing you could do, if most women don't understand, they know what it is, that a man, usually if he takes you out, most likely he wants something in exchange, especially if he's spending money. Now, how much money he spend on you, that's a different question, but nonetheless, dating does equal to something, like an exchange. And yeah, go ahead.
And seriously dating for marriage, or they're just dating for a good time?
Well, for some of dudes, if it's normally that's a form of courting. In today's world, depending on the age of the person, normally it's something dealing with sex. Now, if anything beyond sex, maybe, I don't know. But this is a new trend I'm hearing, you know, so I'm just asking for your take on this, you know. So especially most women that understand that if a man's going to spend money on them, either if it's, I guess, courting or, you know, just for porking, whatever this word they call it, there has to be some exchange. So with this, what they call bargaining system, where dating is going to be considered bartering, that I give you my money to a good time, you know, dinner, maybe walk in the park or whatever, and in return you give me sex. You know, it's a form of exchange. Now, I'm not sure if this is what's going on now, but from a lot of dudes that's not even seeking this, that's what they're not even investing out in just the dating aspect. Now, regardless of the matchmaking, depending on his age, he just want to get down and say, you know, either I want to, I'm tired of, you know, the games. Maybe I just go at it and just pay the money and find a mate that will be on my program and then give me what I need, and I call it a day. So, yeah.
It sounds like a sugar baby escort situation to me is what it sounds like. But women have always used the barter system. We kind of call it hypergamy, gold digging. There have so many different names for it over the decades, where women have this expectation that men want to spend time with me, so they're going to have to pay in order to spend time with me. Whereas men were gladly lining up, shelling out the dollars just for a moment of her time. This new generation, new era in time that we are in, men are saying, absolutely not, that's not enough. If you're expecting me to spend $300, $500 on you on a date, your smiling in my face is not enough. Personally, as a matchmaker, as someone who has a strong value system, I think it's absolutely asinine and it's counterintuitive if you desire a relationship or marriage. If you're just out here trying to have a good time, then do you, and whichever way the cookie crumbles is how it is. But if you are trying to get obtain a serious relationship and marriage, first off, ladies, do not go on dates with men that you are not interested in having sex with, because that is the expectation. And if you can't see yourself having sex with them, stop trying to play that game just so you're not lonely, or just to be able to brag about how many options you supposedly have, or the fact that you just want a free meal or a come up or whatever. unless there is a clear understanding. And men need to make their understanding very clear. There's nothing wrong with telling a woman whom you are only interested in for having sex, let that be known. Like, if you want me to spend this money on you, this is what I expect. Don't wait until after, you spend all this money and then she's like, well, no, I don't like you like that. Now you're upset or frustrated. No, let it be known up front and be clear about what you expect. And if she doesn't want to get on board, then okay, move on to the next. But if you are serious about a relationship, if you see a woman that you're interested in and you want to try to get to know her for the purpose of relationship, if she is dating multiple men, you either dead that and tell her she can only see you, or you move on to the next. Because if she is seeing multiple men, that means she's not serious about you. You're serious about her, but she's not serious about you, and she has all the power and control in the relationship, and she's the one leading the relationship. Men are the ones who are supposed to lead the mating process, from the courting, dating, all the way through to the marriage. You lead, and she should follow. At any time you give a woman an inch or space to where she can start leading, it's going to go downhill from there, because she's always going to want to be in that position. There's not this switch or this flip back and forth where you lead one day and she leads. No, she's always going to lead. So all this casual stuff is just, I don't, it is what it is. It's a new day. It's a new era. If you're serious about marriage, if you're serious about a relationship, all this casual dating, pumping and dumping, it just needs to stop. And you just need to get on your grind and get serious. And if you're able to meet someone where you are, that's fine, and focus on that relationship. If you're having a hard time, find you a matchmaker.
It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that hard, especially to you fellas, Like you said, LeTisha, we have to lead as men, and if she can't come on the simple program you lay out, then obviously she's a waste of your time and you find another one. And let's be honest. A person, LeTisha, you're only going to be allowed to do anything what a man is not expecting you to do. So if a man's not firm, upfront with you, what he will tolerate, will not tolerate, is how much you're going to be a serious woman to know where he stands. And a lot of dudes today in the society, where they have not seen how to function properly in the society as men, this is where they're lacking. Especially a lot of dudes that complain about they don't get enough women or all stuff. One of the few things as men you should know, dudes or young men, is you got to be confident. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get some things that women are not going to look your way. But the more confident you have in yourself and expect the rejection and to really read her out from the start, will better prepare you for that right woman. And it's going to take work on your side, fellas, because remember, we live in a digital age now where the access of women that could have towards mates or males is endless. I mean, if you look at all these dating sites, from the POF to all these special sites where women could swipe left, that's where we are now as a society, swiping left just to raise the body count. But if you're serious as a man of any age, especially if you're in your late 20s or 30s, or mid-30s, late 30s, and you're seeking a wife, if you got the money, invest in a matchmaker. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Now, my last question, because I don't see nobody else raising their hand. In regards to the dudes that, go through the matchmaking process to find a mate, what was the one concern from what you could recall from the clients that you dealt with they have going for a matchmaker? What was the common question that you noticed that they keep asking? If you could recall.
The common question is, can I guarantee a wife? Can I I guarantee them that I'll find them a wife? That is the common question. That's the common misconception, that I can guarantee that you're going to get married. I cannot make that guarantee. I can only guarantee that I'm going to try my best in finding you quality matches, and but the rest is up to you. You know, the compatibility is there, but chemistry is on the two people who are involved. So once I match you, it's really all in your hands. And so it's up to you whether or not you end up with a wife. So that's a common one. Also, pretty much people who come to matchmakers, they pretty much have done their research, done their homework. I'm finding that the more interviews I do amongst the YouTube space, the people come to me from that. They're they treat it as if it's some type of taboo, especially within the Black community. It's a taboo, so they're kind of nervous. Trepidation is there. And they want to know if the service is actually real. So I get that a lot from my African-American clients, male clients.
What do you think there's like a Ponzi scheme going on? Your service. I mean, to be honest with you, the only policy I've recognized is certain when people are trying to get so-called rich. But regardless, finding a mate, on the average, it's hard to Ponzi scheme that, because to find an actual mate or the right one with a matchmaker, they don't really say they're going to deliver miracles, last time I checked. I mean, unless you're deliberate in defining in the fine print of the website, say, we will this, but we're not going to guarantee this up front. Now, mind you, how you write out your business plan to people that go to the website is totally with you, or, Yeah, so, yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
My certification does not allow me to make such claims. Like, I am a certified matchmaker, so I am honor-bound. I have to follow a code of ethics. So to guarantee marriage or a miracle work, I'm a miracle worker, goes against the code of ethics of my certification. So I can't make those promises, and I don't make those promises. Being a Ponzi scheme would mean that I am simply trying to make money off of people investing money in me. So thinking that they're investing in something. So I get it. The Black community, matchmaking is relatively new to the Black community. I'm starting to see now a lot of even Black people Black women and Black men get involved in becoming matchmakers, because this is an industry that is dominated by non-Blacks. Even in the clientele side, it is dominated by non-Blacks. So, just do your research. I think people are confused between matchmaking and online dating. I get the question like, how does this work as far as online services? Do I get to match myself? And I have to correct them and say, no, I don't do online dating. This is not an online dating service. This is a one-on-one, in-person service where I provide curated matches. Curated matches is a group of matches that is carefully selected for a specific client. So it's not like I just throw you in the pool with the sharks and see what happens. No, I'm carefully selecting women because I have a database full of women, but I'm not just going to throw any woman at you. I'm carefully selecting which woman will best suit my male client. So there's nothing online other than signing up for the services through my website. And, I get the question, like, people think, why should I have to do this when I can find someone of my own I should be able to find someone on my own, or that people who use matchmakers are people who have a difficult time finding someone, or they can't meet anyone. And that's not true. My clients, for the most part, are very busy. They lead very busy lives. Anyone who has been in the dating market, you know how tedious that is to meet someone and then vet them over a long period of time, because people are not going to tell you all the information that you need to know up front and right away. So it takes about 6 months of vetting someone during the regular dating process, normal dating process, before you really get to understand that this person might not be for you. Whereas with a matchmaker, I get to ask all the questions up front, all the questions that you wish you could ask, that you want to ask. I get to ask that to the ladies up front. I get to ask that to the men up front. I'm checking backgrounds. I'm checking their psychological and mental health, and I'm checking the financials where it pertains to the men. So all the questions that you are going to be asking over 6 months, I ask in a 2-hour period, and then I send you on your date, and then, my clients and the ladies trust me enough to know that I am matching based on very selective criteria. While I have all the information, they don't have all the information, but they know that they can trust that this is a person of good quality, and this is not someone who is run-of-the-mill, who is, I like to call a dusty or a bum, or the lady is a gold digger and she's just strictly out there for his money or his resources. So by the time you get together, all you have to do is just relax, enjoy the date, and have fun. So a lot of black men are nervous about a matchmaker because it's like a pride or ego thing, and it's like, well, why should I have to utilize a matchmaker? Well, if you're not finding what you want, then why not? What's the big problem? What do you have to lose? The possibility of actually finding someone that you could spend the rest of your life with, the person that you've been searching for all this time and you wish that you could find. I possibly have that person in my database. So what do you have to lose? Your ego or your pride? So you're going to let your ego and your pride keep you single and unhappy and miserable for the rest of your life, because statistics show that men who are married are happier and they live longer.
And that's where it all has to be for us as humans. We're hoping to not just to die alone. I know most men don't understand that we could work and die doing what we're doing. Either we on our purpose or work for somebody else, and the results are the same. But to live an actual whole life and to move up in the corporate ladder, you're gonna have to find a wife. And if you're a man that's making $80K or greater, listen to me good. Skip the dating, leave the dating alone, get yourself a matchmaker, because it cuts out all the nonsense. And you must hit up LeTisha Underwood, because I recommend her. I'm not sure anybody else in podcast, YouTube have recommended, but me, T.R.S, for the first time, said I recommend any black man. If you're on that path and you have your junk in order, get a matchmaker and hit up LeTisha Underwood. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Matter of fact, give to my Cash App, Chaos8Reign, and thank me later. Ding! Now, in closing, any advice for the ladies, especially our sisters, that is 22 and a little older? Any advice in regards if they're going to choose a matchmaker to find a mate? What advice you can give to them?
For the ladies, I would suggest that if you are not in tune with your femininity, that you find you a femininity coach or go to a wife school, charm school. That is essential when trying to date, marry a high-value man, high-quality man. Your education is not enough. Your cute attractiveness is not enough. These men are looking for qualities such as elegance, grace, classiness. I know it's the popular thing is to try your options out. Wrong. If you are 22 and you're in college, you're in a situation where there's nothing but quality men around you. Position yourself to start looking for or attracting a man who could possibly be your future husband. You can simultaneously obtain your degree while obtaining a husband as well, or a future husband as well. Older women need to face reality. Women who are over 35 need to face and understand. And I'm not trying to knock anyone. I'm not trying to put anyone down, and I hope they don't think that I'm doing that. I'm saying this from the sincerest bottom of my heart, because I do want to see women win in marriages again, especially black women. I love black love, and I love seeing strong black marriages. So you need to face reality, get in the gym, lose the weight. Stop thinking that just because men deal with you and they have sex with you that they want to be with you. If you're not married yet and you're seeing that it's man after man after man, it's the same thing over and over again, know that the problem is you. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying that as a way to self-reflect and correct. Get in the gym, get a therapist to get all that bad juju off of you, and then set your mind to set your sights higher. You can obtain a good quality man. No one's saying you're not deserving of one, but just know that there are certain aspects that you have to meet. And if you're not willing to meet them, then I'm sorry. Unfortunately, you're going to continue down the same path that you are on, which is no man's land. So, young ladies who are 20, who are under 30 or in college age, focus on getting your education. That's fine, but focus on getting you a husband now, because I'm going to tell you, once you reach a certain age, it becomes hard. It becomes very difficult. Don't out here playing the field, hopping around, jumping from bed to bed, trying to operate like men do. That's not going to get you very far. That's not going to get you anywhere. Women and men are not the same when it comes to sex. Men are built biologically and biochemically to engage in casual sex, multiple sexual encounters with different women. Women are not built that way. Our bodies can't handle it. Pregnancy can result. And not only that, but ladies, we all know what happens with our body when our pH balance is off. That's the number one sign that you should keep your legs closed when your pH balance is off. So keep it, this needs to stop. It's not cute. I don't care what they say with the try your options. You don't need to try your options. You just need to find one good solid guy and ride that out until you guys graduate and start building a future together. That's the best way you can do it. Focus on that. I don't understand why you don't want it. You think focusing on a man is the worst thing in the world. It's not, because then by the time you get 35, it's probably too late. So do it now. And for the ladies who are older, welcome to reality. Get a reality check and check yourself and make sure, look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you really deserving of the type of man that you want? And outside of you thinking you have a great personality and you have all these great qualities, would you have sex with yourself? Can you see yourself with no clothes on and say, she's sexy, I want to have sex with her? If not, get in the gym. Slim it down, get sexy, get fit, and also learn how to engage men in a more feminine way and stop operating like a man, talking like a man, Stop dressing like a man. Wear skirts, dresses, put some heels on, light makeup. You don't have to have all those big eyelashes on, looking like a whatever that Sesame Street character is. Those big
I look like a clown?
No, the snuffleupagus.
I remember that. It's been a long time since I remember Sesame Street, but go on.
The snuffleupagus. I'm not even going to say it. But the Muppet Baby eyelashes, get rid of those. If you are going to have eyelashes, they have a more natural look. They give you a little bit more oomph to your eyelashes because they do make your face look, it does bring out the eyes. But go for a more natural, toned-down look, nice makeup. Get rid of all that clown makeup, the contouring. That stuff only looks good in camera, on video shoots, photos, and video. That's the only time that stuff looks good. In person, it doesn't look right. If you're going to, I don't have a problem with women wearing wigs and weaves, but if you're going to wear wigs and weaves, make sure it's done tastefully and it looks good and it looks natural. Beyonce wears a wig and a weave all the time, but you can't really tell. That's how your wigs and your weaves should look.
And Beyonce got hair, let y'all know.
Yes,
under that wig.
Yes,
she has long hair. She has actually long hair. She's wearing the blonde because it's for the character she portrays herself in the public.
But a lot of women wear wigs that have long, beautiful hair because it's just easier to maintain with a wig. But if you're gonna wear a wig, and if you don't have any hair and a wig is your only option, just make sure it's nicely done and tasteful. Invest the money in you. Stop thinking that you can go to the cheap, easy route and thinking someone is going to be okay with that. Your nails, stop with these long Cardi B, Dracula crazy 6-inch nails. Get something nice and classy. I've heard guy after guy tell me they don't like all these bright colors and all this bling bling stuff. A nice French manicure, nice basic color is the way to go. So if you're wanting a quality man, you have to carry yourself as if you're deserving of a quality man. You cannot be out here like you're an Instagram model because guess what? All you're going to get is the type of guys that they get. Now, of course, they get men who are high rollers and big ballers and shot callers, but look at all the mess they have to deal with. They're not really getting wifed up on like that. I mean, sure, the guy is with them and spending money on them, but you want the ring in the end, and you want a nice, good, solid life. You don't want to deal with all that bull crap. Okay, then you have to qualify for the guy who's going to give you that nice, good, solid life. So it first starts with you. You have to attract what you want, and in order to attract that, you have to be that. So.
Well said, LeTisha. And one thing you forgot to tell the ladies, and this is very vital. Listen to me good, ladies. Listen to Chaos. Chaos is going to lay down on you. Listen good. Smile. Smile a bit. You know, a lot of black women don't like the term say you must smile. I remember me and Charles had this conversation, and one of the few things that is lacking is you got to smile when you're around men. Hell, Miss Nicole Michelle, another woman that I would advise most women go to, but, because you have a certain masculine energy, some of you sisters, that you can improve on, you're not going to go check these sisters in regards to femininity, life coach, wife school, whatever you want to call it. But like I said, the smile will show that you are very friendly and appealing. It's not somewhere you have to sit there be on guard. You're not an animal. You're not a dog or what they call a German Shepherd. You are a woman. Act like it. Present yourself like that. The world will be yours. It will open up tomorrow if you operate in your natural form. Anything less than that, you get the scrappings like everybody else.
And see, this is where femininity coaching and wife school, charm school comes into play because they'll tell you all these things. Kindness goes a long way. Men are not intentionally setting out to hurt women. Black men are not intentionally setting out to hurt black men. You can't use the minority of men who are violent and overly aggressive and say that's how all black men are. No, that is a small minority of the black male population in America. For the most part, black men are not trying to set out to hurt you or be unkind or be malicious towards you. So when one offers to open a door, there's nothing wrong with a thank you. So if you don't mind, I'll tell you a little story about that, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. I like to hear.
Okay.
This is learning.
So I was getting lunch at at a popular Jamaican restaurant that I go to not too far from my house. And I'm walking up to a group of men. You know, of course, we have masks on. I'm a very smiley person, but I know they can't see me smile. So I say, hi, how are you all? And then I continue on into the restaurant. Now I get my food. I'm leaving out. And they're rushing. Two guys are rushing to open the door. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. They were taken aback by that. And then so the one engaged me in conversation. He was surprised that I was African-American woman because, unfortunately, we're not known for being nice and kind. And that was very telling, that he was shocked that I am African-American, born in America, and here I am treating them with kindness. And he said, I appreciate that. So, ladies,
wow, that's sad. That's sad. Go on. I'm listening.
Very sad. Kindness can go a long way. There's nothing wrong with being on guard. I know you're busy. I'm a very busy lady, very busy. And sometimes, you just want to focus on work. You want to focus on what you're doing. But there's nothing wrong with just being kind to one another. And that you never know what can happen just out of a moment of kindness. So
that's a beautiful story, and that's something that a lot of women can learn from, that if you change the way how you move and perceive yourself, and it takes work, ladies. I'm not saying it's going to be something you can just turn on today and then go back to what you're doing tomorrow. It has to be a condition. It has to be a way of life. I heard even some women talking about saying that they are going to act submissive one day and then turn it off the next. No. To be around actual quality men, if that's what most y'all are seeking, it has to be an ongoing process. It has to be, for me, forever. Because other race women, regardless of the situation, their comfort or whatever you want to call it, because why they act the way they do because of the system and all that stuff, they still know that for them to get or attain anything, they got to act like they're still women.
Correct. No man wants to be with a man. No heterosexual man wants to be with a man. And ladies, submission is not something that you turn off and on with a switch. You either are submissive or you aren't. And we all can be submissive, but for some of us, it's dormant and it has to be brought out. But that's something a woman has to work on. That is not for a man to do. You can't leave it up to a man and say, well, if he can lead, then I'll submit. No. A man wants to see that you're capable of submitting first. If you feel that you can't submit, then you are dealing with the wrong type of men. And that says a lot more about you than men. Because if you're around a masculine man who is of good quality, you will not have a problem with submitting. So you need to do some self-reflection about the type of men that you are attracting. And then you need to fix that about you, because you're only attracting the type of men that you can't submit to, you feel you can't submit to, then that means you're not qualifying for the men that you actually truly desire. So there's something that you need to work on and not focus on, I need to be able to find a man that I can submit to. No, submission is very natural, and it's going to happen regardless, because you, like we said earlier in the program, you'll submit to other things. You'll submit to your boss. You'll submit to your job. You'll submit to your education. You'll submit to your professor. But the only person you seem to have a problem with is submitting to the man that you're in a relationship with. So that's not a man's issue. That's a woman issue that needs to be fixed. So.
And it's funny. I'm reading the comment section right now, or actually in the chat room. And ABC, you called in and you hung up, and now you up here in the chat room telling the women to call in to check who? To check who? Ain't no woman checking no woman on here tonight because what she's saying is gold. It's like when I had, if you're not familiar, I had Layar Movement on my podcast last year, and me and him talked about submission, and he gave his take because he wrote a book himself called, I think it's called Misguided of a Father. I don't know if that's the name of the title, but me and him went in for like 3.5 hours, and then after there was an after-hour show, and people tried to time in and chuck his brain a little bit. But like I said, it's not no negativity about submission. You hear enough men talking about it, regardless if you said they deserve or not. Well, if you feel that way, then the men that you get is what you deserve. Because there's not no option at the end of the day, ladies. And much times I would tell you, say, all right, probably you don't really need it, and, you know, using the word might be offensive. But I'm being straight honest because most of y'all don't act and conduct yourself like women. I have to tell you, this person, and the lady that's my guest is telling you the same thing, that you're not getting no better the way you're going at right now, at the rate you're going. One in, I think, out of 1 in 25, you're going to get married. That's a problem. In this environment we live in right now is not really uncertain right now. And as you know, we're going into the next year. It's only going to get worse for ladies. So you have some real soul searching, you know, to how you're going to come out of this, you know. Matter of fact, we're in coupling season right now. So, you know. Yeah, Joshua got one more question. I'm going to open this line. Joshua, you're my last caller. I don't think ABC going to call in. So, you have any question or any question left? Joshua, could you be my last caller?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I just want to give your guest a thumbs up. I've been going back and forth, listening off and on, and I agree with most of what she said. It was like 99.9%. And I think that, you know, it's funny. You would think that men would agree with her instead of try to argue with her. I find that, but again, we live in a culture where we tell black men to be leaders, and to be leaders, but if he doesn't meet those qualifications as a leader, you got black men who are seemingly successful. They call those men weak because they can't be leaders. And I find that very hypocritical. It's where have some guys say, well, I'm disagreeing with her, and you know, et cetera, and all this stuff like that. When she's actually speaking the language, you know, saying that, hey, you know, she's actually telling women, you know, particularly black women. I can't speak for white women. I can't speak for Asian women. I can't speak for any of those women. But I can, as a black man, I can speak I can, in a sense, speak of a black woman because, generally speaking, that's generally who we tend to pursue as black women because we're black men. But I'm glad she dispelled some myths about black men, that black men are not out here trying to maliciously hurt black women and, you know, and all this dumb stuff, because you hear it a lot, and that's the narrative. But I just want to give your guest a thumbs up, and tell her thank you, and do what she do. I mean, I don't think I can tell her to keep doing what she does. Yes, she's gonna meet resistance, and more than likely you're gonna probably get it from more black men because for some reason, no, they took this attitude, and just like tonight, you had to slap somebody upside the head. LeTisha, you slapped somebody upside the head tonight. I'm not going to say no names, but you just slapped him upside his head. But again, thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you for listening and taking the time to hear me out. I appreciate it.
Now, I don't fit the criteria of the high value man. I'm not that type of cat. I'm 53. I'm single with no children, but I don't consider myself a high value man. I'm just a regular brother, and that's how I keep myself grounded. I don't try to be something more than what I'm not. So, and that's how I keep myself grounded. I keep myself in check, you know, etc. But okay.
Well, I'll say this. No, go ahead. You about to say something, LeTisha, before I say something? Go ahead.
Oh, I just said there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you have to just know yourself and be true to yourself. Everyone's trying to find their lane, right? And then some people don't want to accept the lane that they're in, so they try to fit into a lane that they don't belong in, and then they end up getting burned. But there's nothing wrong with being who you are. That's the key. Confidence is key in knowing who you are and accepting that. Not everyone is going to fit in the same lane, you know, and that's fine. But if you're looking for date coaching services, I also provide that. But if you're doing well, more power to you and congratulations. So.
All right. Thank you, Joshua. And let me read last thing in the chat room, and then we're going to probably end this. Look at MJ says something. She said, please do not speak for BW's Joshua. We are perfectly fine with speaking for ourselves. If people will shut up and listen. Next person says, why does this feel like, this person's channel. Next person says, confident men should be able to find a woman on their own. And then one person is laughing out loud. Now, normally I would say the content creator.
Wow.
But, we already know what it is.
Can I say something?
Go ahead. Yeah,
I want to say something to
keep it short because I got
MJ. You know, I wasn't talking to MJ, and I'm surprised that she would even mention my name in her mouth. Period. And that's not a slight to MJ, but I'm just shocked. And I thought she had more class to put my name in her mouth when my conversation or what I said was not directed to her, period. So that's all I got to say about that. And that's sickening when you don't talk.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, sure. All right, thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's crazy.
After.
Yeah, no, I'm not coming on no after hour, but again, thank you, LeTisha.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, LeTisha.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
LeTisha Underwood, where can people find you? Any links that you want to tell? The floor is yours.
So you can sign up for any services or peruse if you have any information need information about my business. That's www.twoheartsexclusive.com. Again, www.twohearts, that's TWOHEARTSEXCLUSIVE.com. You can also find me on Facebook at twoheartsexclusive.com, Instagram, twoheartsexclusive.com, and I also have my own YouTube channel, twoheartsexclusive.com, where discussions of the matchmaker, where I answer all your dating questions, and I talk about dating and marriage and relationships. So, yeah.
Yes, and one thing I will do, LeTisha, let's give you a little game here because I know you go to other streams and I guess deal with the your service and what Matchmake is. For future reference, because I will be putting this on my channel, I will send you, once it's gone through my channel, I will send it to you and you could probably share it on your channel or whatever. So you have a catalog of interviews from other podcasts so people could reference. This is a good template for, I could say, if people are not familiar, if besides YouTube channel that knows, say you have put yourself out here to other people that have channels. So let you know that you're here, you're alive and well, and your service does provide usefulness for all groups of people, including the Black community. So it gives some light to, to a lot of questions that's already asked, or, people that have a disagreement. They know, you hear it from them first, from other podcasts. So, like I said, I will email you once it go through, once I put on my channel,
Okay.
But all other details, for those that's listening, you're going to have to find it in the description of this stream, like everything else. So I'd like to thank LeTisha Underwood. And, hey, we might do this again another time and talk about something different. I don't know. I had to think of something, but, this is good. I think this is the first time I cover matchmaking on my channel. I was never thinking about it, but after listening to possibilities and the benefits a man can get going through this, I think it is highly recommended to a lot of Black males that are follow that criteria that you said to really start looking into it if they're serious to find a mate. to be honest. You know,
Yes.
because they said that they want to get married. So if you're serious as a man, then if you have the money, invest in a matchmaker and call it a day. I tell you, they're not going to bring miracles, but they will at least cut down the crap from the so-called dilapidating dating market we're in right now. This is very much a problematic in regards to finding mates in this environment today, fellas, because nowadays people will waste your time. People will try to get on you or try to take you along the ride or take your little resource, which I think the average man, depending on what you make, you're not going to lose much if you're married nowadays. But like I said, if you want to know a woman is seeking what you're seeking, this is the best process you can go through. And, hey, if the woman don't meet the criteria, LeTisha won't have her on her database. It's just that simple. It's that simple, you know. And as we know from the discussion tonight, even to the few women that called in, which is not much, and the dudes that gave the resistance, you know where we're as people. Do I need to speak more on that? Yeah. So thank you again, LeTisha Underwood. And, hey, we might do this again soon. All right, sis? Thank you again.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. And I will follow you on Facebook, so be on the lookout if I send an info or a message on your Facebook page. All right.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right.
Take care now.
You take it. Bye.
And I'd like to thank everybody for listening to tonight's broadcast. Like always, you know, if you missed what you heard, go back to the beginning, take some notes, play it while you're driving, or heck, watch on YouTube, wherever digital outlets you have out here. I don't care. Knows that, you know, the information is out here for your betterment, for your understanding, for your education purpose, and maybe your entertainment purpose. Nonetheless, I am Chaos8Reign here. Tune into the next stream. Be on the lookout for the next stream. But, you know, I'm out in this piece. So take care now. Until next time, good night.
And now, here is a scene from LeTisha Underwood herself. Watch for yourself.
Today we're going to be discussing what happens when a man tells you he's not ready for a relationship. What should you do?
Don't tell a million lies. Kill the butterflies. I just wanna...
My advice is do nothing. When a man tells you he's not ready for a relationship, that's usually because he's not ready to settle down, but he likes you and he's interested in you and he likes getting the benefits that you're giving him, but he's not ready to commit. Or he's ready for a relationship and he's looking, he just hasn't found that in you. He doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. That's usually typically the go-to is, I'm not ready for a relationship. That's his way of saying, I don't want a relationship with you, but I like what we're doing. I like hanging out with you. I love the sex. I love all those nice girlfriend, wife things you do for me. And I don't want that to end. So I just string you along by telling you, I'm not ready for a relationship. And the ladies, don't get in your feelings. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. Just take a moment, breathe, self-reflect, and then do what you gotta do. Leave the situation, because nothing you do, nothing you say is going to make a man who is not ready for a relationship be ready for a relationship. There's really nothing you can do. And once you accept that, acknowledge that, accept that, then you can start doing better. Find someone who is. Why do you want to waste your time in being with someone who's not ready for a relationship? It happens to all of us. It's not just you. And women get caught up and they get caught in this never-ending cycle of thinking and believing that if they are just everything that a man needs, they give a man everything that he wants.
I'd like to thank LeTisha Underwood as my special guest to this broadcast. The links to follow her and get your not only coaching advice, but also if you're a man that follows that criteria, please sign up for her matchmaking website. And like always, comment, subscribe, and like this video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Chaos8Reign the 7th. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let the chaos reign.